Today we're going to do a review of the movie named Obsession from 2019. The movie opens with Larissa walking from the farm into her house as she's followed by Sonny. As Larissa is about to enter the house, Sonny grabs her arm with force and looks angrily at her direction. He tells her that he saw her with George and how she was all over him. Sonny is very jealous that Larissa gave her romantic attention to George, but Larissa retaliates by reminding Sonny that George is, in fact, her husband. This reminder brings Sonny back to reality as he claims that they're going to get rid of George. Larissa seems like she's in somewhat of a disbelief. The fact that Sonny is planning for them to hurt George is not sitting well with her, but Sonny is very confident, and he has already made up his mind about what he wants to do with George. The scene cuts to black, and we see the movie title. Now the story begins from the very start. Sonny is now traveling in a bus to get to the Louisiana Bayou area so he can find himself a job. He does not have a place to stay in this new city. All his belongings are in his backpack. Sonny gets off the bus and decides to shave and get fresh in a public restroom before heading out to a job interview in car workshop. Sonny reaches the workshop and tells the owner that he's a skilled mechanic looking for a job, but the workshop owner does not want him. The workshop owner says he does not need any new employees and all job spots are already filled. This is very disappointing news for Sonny, and he leaves the workshop with his hopes shattered. It's evening time now, and since Sonny does not have a job, he also does not have a place to stay. He walks past a hotel that says $29.99 per night, but even that price is too expensive for Sonny. He soon realizes that he's homeless on his very first night in a new town, and that he's going to sleep on a bench until he can find a job and afford a place to stay. He sits on a bench in the back alley and closes his eyes. He thinks there's no one around him, but suddenly he hears something. An old man is getting into his car when a knife-wielding man tries to mug him. At first, the old man is too stunned to speak, but soon he starts to yell and asks the thug not to rob him. But the thug doesn't care. He attacks the old man and wounds him in several places with his knife. Before things can escalate further, Sonny appears on the scene. This was the noise that he was hearing. Sonny instantly pushes back the thug and tries to hit the thug with his backpack. The thug tries to fight back, but soon realizes that Sonny might be stronger than him. The thug panics and runs away, leaving Sonny and the old man behind. Both of them are rattled, as Sonny notices that the old man is bleeding from several spots. An ambulance is called so the old man can receive help. While the old man is being stitched up, he introduces himself as George and starts talking about all the ways he would hurt the thug if he ever saw him again. The policeman and George both thank Sonny, while he claims that defending the old man was the only right thing to do in this situation. Soon enough, the paramedics want George to sign some papers. This is when George's much younger Russian wife, Larissa, arrives. She declares that she'll take care of the papers and comes to greet George with concern. George tells Larissa about how Sonny saved him, and Larissa looks at Sonny, who's standing across from her, with admiring eyes. Soon enough, George starts to ask Sonny questions about who he is. What does he do, and where does he live? Sonny does not have answers to any of those questions since he's a homeless man with no job. Sonny tells George that he doesn't have a place to stay and that all of his belongings are in his backpack, and he has nothing else for himself. George and Larissa are very elated that Sonny saved George's life, so they invite him to their farmhouse to have dinner. During dinner, George strikes up a conversation about Sonny's professional life. Sonny tells George the straight-up truth. He tells him that he's a very skilled mechanic and that he can fix anything with wheels, but he does not have a job at the moment. Since George's farm mechanic quit some time back, George sees it as a golden opportunity. George immediately offers Sonny a job as his farm technician and gives him a place to stay at the farm. What George doesn't notice is that throughout the dinner, Sonny is making eyes at Larissa and noticing her body constantly. Sonny is now in his cottage across from the main house, but through the window, he can clearly hear what George and Larissa are talking about in their bedroom. Larissa is concerned that George is letting a homeless stranger live in their house. But George reassures Larissa and reminds her that once George and Larissa themselves were very poor as well. Since George is old, he has high hopes that Sonny will take great care of the farm and all of its equipment. The next day, George introduces Sonny to the garage and shows him all the work that needs to be done. After that, every day, Sonny and Larissa catch themselves looking at each other. While Sonny is busy fixing a car, Larissa is looking out of the window and noticing him move. Another day, Larissa has put on a beautiful outfit, and she's watering the flowers on her front porch as Sonny washes himself with a hose after a hot and sweaty day of working. Another day, Larissa is sitting on a swing on her porch and pretending to read a book, while she is sneakily giving naughty looks to Sonny. Sonny is starting to understand the vibe that both of them are passing to each other. A weird silent connection is forming between them both. One night, Sonny looks out his window and sees Larissa standing in her bedroom window. She's wearing a satin silk nightgown and looking sadly at the sky. Inside the room, George is snoring away as Larissa is awake alone and looking sadly at the sky. It becomes clear at this point that while George fulfills the financial needs of Larissa, there are other areas in which Larissa is completely unfulfilled and lonely. She's much younger than George and has different desires than him. One day she walks up to Sonny while he's working in the garage and tells him to stop looking at her. However, Sonny knows that things are not so simple. Sonny tells Larissa that if she knows he's looking at her, that only means that she was also looking at him. Sonny is confident and gives Larissa the clear signal that he likes her and is not backing away. Larissa is somewhat uncomfortable, but also excited on the inside. At night, all three of them are having dinner together. After dinner, Larissa is doing dishes in the kitchen. George asks Sonny to join him in the living room for a drink of whiskey. While George takes the whiskey into the living room, he asks Sonny to go into the kitchen and fetch some glasses with ice. This gives Sonny plenty of time alone with Larissa so he can make a move. He stands behind Larissa with the ice and moves hair away from her face with one hand, claiming that she looks like she's hot. Before Larissa can do anything, Sonny starts rubbing the ice cube on her neck and starts grabbing her body from the back. Soon he puts his hand inside her blouse and starts rubbing the ice cube all over her breasts. With his other hand, he stimulates her nether regions from over her dress. This is a very intense, erotic moment for both of them. They're now 100% sure that there's sexual tension between them, and they can do even more exciting things in the future. While Sonny and Larissa are still in the heat of the moment, George yells from the living room and asks Sonny what's taking so long with the glasses and ice. Sonny quickly comes back to his senses and goes into the living room. The next day, Sonny has created a perfect plan to be alone with Larissa for a couple of hours. George has kept a fancy red car in his garage that he wants to gift to Larissa, but it doesn't have a working carburetor. Sonny tracks down a car parts supplier a few hours' drive away and rushes George to hurry up and go get the carburetor before it's sold out. George gets very excited and instantly leaves to go buy the carburetor so he can have the car up and running for his beautiful younger wife. He does not realize that this was all Sonny's plan to be alone with Larissa and have his way with her. Larissa walks into the garage and asks Sonny how long George will be gone, to which Sonny replies that he will be gone for 4 hours. As Larissa starts walking out of the garage, Sonny grabs her from behind with his hands coated in car grease and gets grease all over her arms. For a moment she's annoyed and tells him that he has made her dirty, but instantly she gives in to her desires and starts making out with Sonny very passionately. Both of them are making out with intense heat as Sonny is rubbing his greasy hands all over Larissa's body and making her white dress very dirty. Soon he picks her up and walks her over to the tractor while they're still completely lip-locked with each other. They start having sex and both of them start moaning with passion and pleasure. Larissa is in so much pleasure that she accidentally presses the horn of the tractor. This is a moment of great pleasure for both of them, but as soon as they're done, Larissa feels regret because she's married and she's cheating on her husband. Sonny doesn't feel any regret, nor does he understand Larissa's regret because he's not married and wants to keep having great sex. Larissa goes inside and starts to shower as George comes home. She looks from her bathroom window down at George, who's very excited to take her to the garage and show her the now working car. Larissa unclogs the bathtub, which is full of dirty water from the grease she removed from her body. She's still in deep regret. While all three of them are in the garage, Sonny manages to start the car and tells George to take it out for a test drive. While George is gone for the test drive, Clarissa tells Sonny that she has grease all over her body, which took her more than an hour to clean in the shower. To this, Sonny replies laughingly and tells her that she should just call him inside the house next time she wants help with the shower. Clarissa is too stunned to speak. She tells him there's not going to be a next time, and that this was just a one-time thing, not the start of a sexual relationship. She says that both of them were curious, and both of them have satisfied their curiosity now, so they should not have sex anymore. In fact, they should forget it ever happened, and stay in their limits from now on. With every passing day, George is starting to trust Sonny more and more. In fact, he's almost treating him like a family member, and having dinner and drinks with him every night. One night after dinner, all three of them are sitting in the living room while George has had too many drinks and is clearly drunk. They're all telling jokes, and Sonny tells a joke about a man whose wife is sleeping with another man. He tells this joke as a hint to Larissa, who's sitting with George. Meanwhile, George is so drunk that he does not realize what's happening and keeps laughing and drinking more. Larissa tells him he's had too much to drink. She gives him a blanket and makes him lie down on the sofa. George is so drunk that he instantly falls asleep. Larissa goes into the bedroom area of the house and Sonny follows her. Sonny is walking slowly, looking for Larissa, because he's not been in this part of the house before. Soon, Larissa appears out of nowhere, pushes Sonny against a wall, and starts making out with him ferociously. She's wearing a sheer nightgown, which is revealing all the curves of her body. She's now kissing Sonny all over his body, and soon they're having sex on her marital bed, even though Larissa clearly told Sonny that they would never have sex again. Both of them are enjoying their experience and moaning loudly, while George is completely passed out drunk in the living room and has no idea what's going on in his very own bed inside his own house. When done with the lovemaking, Larissa and Sonny lay next to each other and start opening up to each other emotionally, which marks the start of their secret sexual relationship. Soon they start to fall in love and want to live their lives together. They realize that for this to happen, George has to be out of the equation, so Larissa can inherit the farmhouse and both Sonny and Larissa can live there happily as a couple. At first, Larissa is hesitant about Sonny's plan, but later she joins in and agrees to help him plan the murder of George. They plan to make it look like an accident so that no one suspects what happened. The police rule the death an honest accident. Larissa gets to become the owner of the farmhouse, and they get to live there happily ever after. But that is not how things pan out. They make a plan to get George underneath a heavy tractor part to fix it, and while he's fixing it and has no idea what's happening, Larissa will pull a chain and the hanging car engine will fall on George and crush him to death. The police will blame it on the faulty chain and think that the chain broke, and Larissa and Sonny will not be suspected of murder. However, when the moment comes, Larissa pulls the chain and the car part falls on George. Yes, it kills George instantly and crushes him to death, but at the same time it also crushes Sonny's hand because he was nearby, making sure that George stays in the right spot. Sonny is worried because now his blood will be on the crime scene as well. He tells Larissa not to worry about him and go out and wash her shoes, which now have a lot of blood on them. Eventually, the police are called and Larissa puts on a big show for them with crocodile tears, so they don't suspect that this is a murder and is in fact an accident. But the detectives are very smart, and they immediately start putting the pieces together that something smells fishy. Soon after, when Sonny starts questioning Larissa about what she told the police, she panics and starts saying they shouldn't have done this. Sonny immediately gets concerned because if Larissa is mentally weak and regrets the murder, she can easily confess everything to the police. Over the next few weeks, the detectives go back and forth on the evidence and keep questioning Larissa and Sonny. Tensions in the household keep rising and rising as Larissa and Sonny get more and more nervous every day that detectives will figure everything out. Sonny doesn't want the police to find out that Larissa was also involved in the murder because he loves her and doesn't want her to go to jail. Instead, he writes a confession letter to the police saying that he committed the murder. In the end, Sonny sacrifices himself for Larissa and goes to jail, while she is free but left alone at the farmhouse without George or Sonny to keep her company. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movies, click on the thumbnails on your screen, and don't forget to share your thoughts about today's video in the comments section. Kindly like the video and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. And at last I will say, stay safe, stay well, see you next time, and thanks for watching.